Hi, Bonnie. Thanks so much for the invitation to join the webinar. Very much looking forward to this. So, Bonnie asked me to introduce myself. I'm Nancy Miller-Ely, and I was USDA as National Program Leader for Nutrition for the US. I spent more than 25 years doing nutrition-related research, and I was funded by NIH, EPA, FDA, and also the National Institute of Standards and Technology. A large portion of my work focused on absorption and bioavailability. Did work with chromium and also vitamin B12, as well as other trace metals. When I was serving as program leader, I had the opportunity to write a white paper on obesity for the White House. And in that capacity, I was able to help define the problem and come up with recommended solutions. And most recently, I've been focusing on community-based nutrition education, which is really my passion, along with nutritional consulting. And the reason I'm so excited about that is I believe that everybody needs the necessary information to be able to become the best version of themselves, and that you can do that best by knowing how to fuel your body. So the statements in this presentation haven't been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, and the products or ingredients that I'm going to mention are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease. It's a standard disclaimer whenever talking about nutritional supplementation products. So first, let's just talk about why nutrition is so important as a foundation for health. The reason that good nutrition is key is that vitamins and minerals are needed for all the different metabolic processes that are going on in your body. We really are just a whole sequence of chemical reactions, and we need things like chromium or vitamin C as cofactors to make those reactions happen. We know that unhealthy eating and physical inactivity actually account for up to 580,000 deaths every year, according to Health and Human Services. So if we can lay a good nutritional foundation, we can help to minimize that. Wellness, in my opinion, is far more than just the absence of disease. So wellness is becoming your best version of you. And you do need good fuel to be able to do that. A lot of health challenges are affected by nutrition, particularly inflammation is a big issue. And, we eat foods out of boxes and windows, things that contain, preservatives, antibiotics, growth hormones, pesticides, colorings, etc., which can cause inflammation. And we know that heart disease, diabetes, food allergies, cancer, digestive diseases, osteoporosis, and obesity can all be affected by nutrition. So why wouldn't we want to set ourselves up for success? Well, people say, let's eat healthy. But the real question is, what does that mean? And I think what it means is you're going to eat high quality foods that are nutrient dense and not calorie dense. And when I talk about that, when I say nutrient dense, I mean that it's rich in calcium and magnesium and vitamin C and manganese and all of the things that we need to be healthy. But unfortunately, a lot of us, eat convenience things, and that's not necessarily going to get us where we want to be. The essential vitamins and minerals are the things that your body can't actually manufacture or make. So you have to take them in either through diet or supplementation, and those nutrients are essential for life. This is a figure from the 2015 Dietary Guidelines. It's a summary of the data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, or NHANES. And what it really shows is the percentage of Americans who have intakes below the EAR for the various nutrients that are shown there. Now, the EAR gives you a 50-50 chance. If you hit that, it means that you have a 50-50 chance that that will be adequate for you. And I don't know about you, but I really would like a better insurance policy for my health. So, just hitting that target's not good enough for me. And it scares me that so many people are not getting enough vitamin D. Look at that, 90%. Magnesium, 50%. Calcium, more than 40% aren't getting enough. And you can just go right on down the list. So really, I don't think there's any question that we have what we call shortfall nutrients. The question is, what are we going to do about it? And what things deplete our nutrients? So even if you take it in, you might be losing some nutrients. The previous slide looked at intake, not at actual nutritional status. So when we look at intake, here are colas on the upper right-hand side. Colas contain phosphoric acid, and that can deplete calcium because you form calcium phosphate. You've got some alcohol there in the middle. And alcohol, I know people enjoy that from time to time, but alcohol does affect our nutrient status. In particular, it depletes B vitamins, as does sugar. So sugar, is not our friend either, and certainly Americans consume a lot of it. On the left is an infographic talking about the things that are depleted by certain medications that are quite prevalent in the United States. Starting in the upper right-hand corner, we've got antacids. A lot of times people take these, but people are wanting to block acid production because they've got reflux. When you do that, though, you also deplete your ability to break down foods effectively sometimes, and antacids also deplete iron. Now, of course, you want to then just make sure you consume foods which are high in iron. That could be, for example, meat would be a great example, or some vegetable sources. But it's also might be that you would want to do some supplementation as appropriate. Diabetic medication, clearly something that people absolutely need. We're not saying that you shouldn't take medications, but it's important to know that insulin can deplete your magnesium stores. And that's oftentimes checked by looking at red blood cell magnesium. Metformin, which is another form of diabetes medication, depletes B vitamins. Birth control pills can deplete vitamin B12. And that's a big issue, especially when we talk about metabolism. Antidepressants can affect selenium, zinc, and B12 status. So you might want to, that's one of the most commonly prescribed things in the United States. So that's important to consider. And then we've got antibiotics. Well, antibiotics affect your intestinal microflora. So those would be the good bugs in your GI tract. So we don't want to have an imbalance. So unfortunately, when you take an antibiotic, it kills the good bugs and the bad guys. So sometimes, you would want to be able to make sure you're enhancing or restoring that population. You can do that by eating fermented foods, things like sauerkraut or kimchi, or drinking kombucha or eating yogurt, or you might want to take a probiotic supplement. And then in the top, we've got statin drugs, and statins deplete CoQ10. And it does it by blocking the pathway for the production of CoQ10 in the body. So that's a very well-known and accepted fact. So admittedly, people may choose to take statins, but it's important for them to know that it can deplete your CoQ10, and that can lead to muscle weakness and pain, particularly in people's legs. So nutritional experts do support the use of supplementation. I think that's important for people to realize. There's a JAMA publication, that's the Journal of the American Medical Association, that highlights the value of a multivitamin. The American Dietetic Association also has a position paper on supplementation, where they're talking about when dietitians work with people, they should ask about the use of supplements and also offer appropriate advice. There are the dietary guidelines put out by USDA and Health and Human Services. And then finally, the food pyramids, not the USDA traditional one that you might be thinking of, but Harvard and Tufts have come out with new food pyramids, using, for example, other components of wellness like physical activity. And both of their pyramids include the appropriate use of supplementation. And in particular, pretty much everybody who's a nutritional expert agrees that a multivitamin is a really, really good insurance policy. Now, if we're going to talk about supplementation, it's important to know that not all supplements are created equal. So I recommend people find a high quality product line. I like people to focus on scientifically based supplements. We're not wanting to buy something off of a late night television ad. So what does this mean? You want to have GRAS approved ingredients, and GRAS stands for generally regarded as safe. So it means that these ingredients have been very well studied, and a lot of experts have agreed that they are appropriate for inclusion in supplementation. Sometimes people will say, well, FDA doesn't approve individual supplements. That's true. They're not checking each product, but it does regulate the ingredients, and it regulates the final products under DSHEA, which is the government legislation overseeing the supplement industry. And people are encouraged, if they have an adverse event associated with a supplement, just as with drugs, to report that. And there are very, very few, things reported. When people use things according to the label, supplements in general are extremely safe for people to use. You want to make sure that a supplement has appropriate quantities of the essential vitamins and minerals that you want in each dose. And I think you want to consider the bioavailability because at the end of the day, each of us has different, unique body chemistry, but certain delivery systems are going to be better than others. And what we absorb is what matters, not just what's listed on the label. So I'm going to talk about isotonics, which is the product line that we're featuring here. And I want to just highlight that absorption does matter. And this is just an X-ray showing problems in somebody's GI tract with intact tablets and pills. This one on the left is, I think, even more pronounced. I almost feel like I can read the name brand on some of those products there. But the point is that a lot of people aren't breaking down pills and tablets. As a result, they're not getting all the nutrition that they need. And it's our goal for people to maybe, if they're going to supplement, to make sure that it's going to make a difference. The most expensive supplement is the one that doesn't work. And if your body's not able to break it down, then you're not getting the benefit. This just shows isotonics on the top and how they come into your intestine. It's a powder that you're going to mix with water and drink. It tastes great. Your body sees it as already being digested. So the pyloric valve opens up and it goes right out of the stomach into the small intestine in just a matter of minutes. Now, with a pill or a tablet, it's going to stay in the stomach and it's going to need, your stomach acid to break it down and digest it, to get it into what they call chyme so that it's ready to move forward and then eventually exit the stomach and move into the small intestine. That can take a long time. It can take, 30 or 40 minutes. So it's important for people to appreciate that the more rapid approach is going to provide an advantage, but it's also your body seeing it as ready to go, ready to absorb. So an isotonic formulation has a particular chemical makeup. It's called osmolality. We don't really need to talk about that, but what it means is that your body sees it as familiar. It's like your tears or other biological fluids. You're going to get more rapid and complete absorption. You get enhanced bioavailability. Again, that's large. It depends on our body's ability, but we also want to have the right form of the nutrients to enhance the probability that it's going to be relatively quickly absorbed. And it's an effervescent formula with a fruity flavor, and it does not have any wheat, soy, yeast, gluten, artificial flavors, starch, salt, or preservatives or milk. And this is great because a lot of people have some intolerance to these ingredients. I like to tell people that the best supplements, it's sometimes what's not in them that makes them the highest quality. So I think that powerful products are very important, and you get that when you've got synergistic formulations and cost-saving regimens. What do I mean by a synergistic formulation? Well, what if you were going to go and instead of buying a multivitamin, you went into Supergalactic Vitamin World, as my friend Dr. D says, and you purchased manganese separately and chromium separately and calcium, et cetera, and you go on down the list. It would cost a small fortune to be able to get what you need. And who's going to want to sit there and take all those different products? So what we're going to go through now are 5 products that I think are really powerful that you might want to consider as a good foundation for your optimal wellness. The first is a multivitamin available with or without iron. You might need iron if you're, for example, a woman of childbearing age, or if you're anemic and your blood tests reflect it. As we get older, we typically don't need added iron. Calcium, B complex, OPC3, and also omega-3s. So Isotonics Multivitamin is a really, as I said, good foundational product, great insurance policy. The nice thing about a multi is you don't need to take more than one dose. It's not based on your size. Everybody needs the same amount of these micronutrients to serve as cofactors for the chemical reactions in your body. Consistent usage is absolutely critical to get good results. You don't take a multivitamin, when you're not feeling great. You don't go, oh man, I feel like a cold's coming on. I think I'll take my multi. You want to be taking it all the time. And as I mentioned earlier, it's available both with and without iron. This infographic, which you can get a copy from the person that referred you, the infographic will, just highlight some of the things. And in this particular case, it's focused on vitamins, not the minerals. But it's mentioning that, it contains, for example, B12, which is great for your nervous system and also for energy. B1, which is good for carbohydrate metabolism and digestion. Vitamin C, great for your immune function and cardiovascular health. Vitamin D3, which we talked about for strong bones and healthy growth and repair of tissues, and it helps with immune function. B2, super good for your nervous system and also for skin, hair, nails, and digestion. And then B6, which is fabulous for enhancing mental function and mood. So again, and then there's lots of minerals in there as well. Isotonics Calcium Plus is an amazing product. It supports strong teeth and bones. It's going to help with healthy blood pressure. It eases the discomfort of PMS by as much as 50%. You can reduce the appearance of fine line and wrinkles with calcium, and it helps with pregnancy and lactation and certainly with growth. I like calcium also for weight loss. It will definitely help people to achieve and maintain a healthy weight. And the target intake is 1,000 milligrams per day, The Isotonics Calcium Plus in each capful is going to provide 375 milligrams. So we recommend 2 caps a day, which will be 750 milligrams. And then you're going to get adequate amounts in your diet. You can see in the middle of the infographic that they're talking about milk and yogurt. Green leafy vegetables are also a great source of very absorbable calcium, as well as fish. And it points out in the top that calcium has some allies, and that would include vitamin K2 as well as magnesium and vitamin D. So we want to see those together. And, absorption is absolutely critically important for calcium. And in the isotonic form, you're going to get excellent absorption. A lot of people favor, the cheapest supplement they can find and might select calcium carbonate based on that, or oyster shell calcium. It's one of the least absorbable forms. So that's why it's great to have a product that takes into consideration the science. Isotonics activate a B complex. B vitamins help with so many things: cardiovascular health, cognition, or function. Excellent for helping with fatigue. And it's not just any one B vitamin that helps with that. You can see that folic acid, B12, and B6 all help with that. And so there's always an advantage to taking B complex as opposed to just an individual B vitamin. You'll hear people say, I went for a B12 shot for weight loss or whatever. But B vitamins work together. It's like, it's like a team approach, and you always want to take them together. B vitamins help with healthy serotonin levels. That's the feel-good brain chemical. So it can help with that a lot. So it helps with stress and also with mood. I love the B vitamins also for my clients that are focused on weight loss, because it will help you to keep your weight in check, because it helps with your thyroid, supports that, and helps different metabolic processes. This is the number one selling product for the company, and it's called OPC3. And I was introduced to it by my friend, Linda, who's a veterinarian and an acupuncturist and also an herbal expert. And she mentioned this product, and I said, OPC? I mean, does that stand for oligomeric proanthocyanidins? And she said, yeah, how do you know that? So I explained that when I was the program leader for nutrition, we actually published a database on the OPC content of foods. And we did that because those plant compounds are really powerful. They're anti-carcinogenic, they're anti-atherogenic, which means that they help to avoid cardiovascular disease, and they're anti-inflammatory. So this OPC product has 5 key ingredients, all of which are natural plant compounds. Pycnogenol is pine bark. We have grape seed extract, red wine extract, bilberry extract, and also citrus bioflavonoids. So these are compounds that are water-soluble extracts coming from these key plant sources. This is just a screenshot from the website. And again, the person that invited you on the webinar can share a link with you. But you can see that OPC helps with so many different things. It combats free radicals, which means it's going to help your body, it's going to serve as an antioxidant and help you to avoid sort of internal rust. It helps with inflammation. They did a big clinical trial, and they saw a 52% reduction in inflammation, and they published that in a peer-reviewed journal, which is amazing. Helps with healthy cholesterol levels, helps with strengthening your capillaries and veins and improving circulation, helps with joint flexibility, cardiovascular health, visual acuity, PMS. It's a free radical scavenger. It helps with blood vessel dilation, so it's going to support health and nitrous oxide healthy and supporting healthy blood pressure. It's going to help with stabilizing blood glucose levels. It serves as an antiplatelet aggregator, so that's good. It helps with sperm quality. And one of my colleagues, Sherry, is an acupuncturist and provides nutritional support regimens to help people with fertility, and has excellent support results using OPC for support for both men and women as they're trying to get pregnant. And it helps with sinus comfort, which is amazing, particularly now during allergy season. So OPC just has all of these different benefits. And I hope that people will take the time to learn about the product. And, but I wanted to show you just one of the ingredients and just show you some pretty compelling data here, because the makers of this ingredient, which is Horfog, put together this infographic showing a 10.5% reduction in blood glucose for type 2 diabetics. 55% of osteoarthritis patients had decreased pain. 5.3% reduction in fasting blood glucose for type 2 diabetics. 7% reduction of your bad cholesterol or LDL, 10% increase in your good cholesterol or HDL. 56% of arthritis patients, osteoarthritis patients, had improved physical function, and 53% reported decreased joint stiffness. And 57% of individuals were able to cut their blood pressure medication in half after only 8 weeks. So this is really, I think, very important and compelling information. So please take the time to learn a bit more about this product. You can see it's very powerful, as they highlighted here in the green, blue, and red, focusing on diabetes control, helping with arthritis, and supporting a healthier heart. The last product I wanted to mention were heart health omega-3s. And omega-3s are just amazing. Forever people have been told, well, eat a low-fat diet. Fat's not good for you. Well, the right fat's really good for you. And, the people who are in the know, nutritional experts, know that we do need fat in our diet, and low-fat diets are not the answer for weight loss, but that's a topic for another day. But omega-3s are very, very powerful, and they actually are so powerful that there's a health claim, an allowable health claim, related to their benefits for cardiovascular health. You can see the bullets at the top all focus on heart health, which is, improving cholesterol and blood pressure, increasing or maintaining normal blood flow, helping with triglyceride levels, and reducing inflammation. The next bullets focus on lubrication of the eye and tear production and things related to eye health. Then we come to the joint health as well as healthy complexion, and it also helps to enhance mood. And so powerful because the Army did a huge study looking at the use of omegas for post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, when we talk about heart health, the American Heart Association actually has a position paper on the use of omegas for, either just general heart health or actually trying to improve your heart health by reducing lipids. And a good suggestion would be to ingest, say, 3,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA, which is what you would find in 4 capsules of the heart health omegas. The reason that I bring this up is that so many times people will say to me, well, how is this different than my warehouse omega? And there's a variety of reasons, but let's just talk first about the amount of active ingredients. A lot of times when I look at the warehouse brands, the individual might have to take 10 or 15 of the capsules of the warehouse brand to get the 3,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA. That's not what it says on the bottle. It might say take 2. So they're not taking into consideration what the experts are recommending in terms of an amount that's going to make a difference. So that's, I think, really, really important. Another thing that distinguishes these omegas from others is the last bullet on the slide, which talks about the quality of the product from the standpoint of avoiding contamination. So all the fish, unfortunately, we end up with contaminants in our oceans. There's pesticides, herbicides, growth hormones, heavy metals, etc. And, all of the fish ingest that, but the small fish who get eaten by the medium fish and then eaten by the big fish, that's called bioaccumulation. So if you were to use a really large fish, like a tuna, for your omegas, then you run a risk of much higher levels of contaminants. If you use something like anchovies or sardines, small fish, then it's going to limit the accumulation of toxins. And it's also going to have just lower levels in general. And in addition, the company uses a process called molecular distillation to help ensure that you're going to avoid any potential contamination. So this is one of the highest quality omegas that you're going to find on the market. So just to kind of wrap things up, one of the things that's available is something called a Daily Essentials Kit, and it contains the first 4 products I talked about: multivitamin, calcium, activated B complex, and OPC3. And remember that activated B's got the activated forms like the 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, the form everyone can absorb. So it's not just, some B complex like what you might pick up at the drugstore. Now, those 4 products, when you buy them in this kit, it provides a significant savings. So you'll want to talk to the person that invited you on the webinar to get the specific pricing information. But I also would like to just give you some food for thought, and that is that, again, the most expensive supplement is the one that doesn't work. So I think people owe it to themselves to make a 90-day commitment to their health and go ahead and try products and see if you can notice the difference. If you should be able to feel the difference. You should be able to discern, if it's to your benefit to take a product or a regimen like I'm suggesting here. The second thing is that, A lot of us are stopping by Starbucks. I'm not, because I'm not a coffee drinker, but I do drink the iced tea. And, for the cost of one of those beverages each day, you can be investing in something that's going to be really health promoting and laying a foundation, so that you can be the best version of you. So I would strongly encourage you to consider a daily essentials kit. It comes either as 90 serving bottles in the top or packets. There's 30 in a box. And so that packet contains one serving of each of the four products that we talked about there. So the only thing you would need to add then to this would be your omega 3s, and you would have a complete regimen. Now, we have tools that are available to help people identify, what might be helpful for them. So there's a tool called the Nutrophysical. Please get with the person that invited you on the webinar so that you can evaluate that and see if it's something you'd like to, fill out. It was designed by, medical professionals, computer specialists, and nutritionists, and it'll make specific recommendations. But I can tell you without hesitation that 95% of people will do really well if they consider a multivitamin. It's a very, very inexpensive insurance policy. And if you go with the full regimen that's suggested, you're going to see that it's a super foundation for your health. I love the fact that the products that we're talking about here today are scientifically based, clinically proven products with appropriate amounts of the key ingredients. And I love that they have an isotonic delivery system, because there are a lot of good products out there. But what distinguishes these products from others that might be available to you that are high quality, I think, frankly, is the isotonic delivery system. We know that so many new Americans have to be concerned about shortfall nutrients that it just makes sense to supplement sensibly. When you talk about that regimen and then add in omegas, and considering the recommendations of the American Heart Association, I think it just makes sense to include omegas in your daily regimen as well. This is just a summary of the 5 different infographics. It might be good for you to ask the person that invited you on the webinar for a copy so that you would have the opportunity to just review it at your leisure. I'm excited that we have products that we can offer people that are going to really make a difference in their health. So with that, I'm just going to turn it back over to Bonnie. Thank you very, very much, Bonnie, for the opportunity to participate in this webinar.